Gabriel Wilson sat alone in his office, staring out at the city skyline. Tall buildings, bright lights, so many people. Yet, he had never felt more alone. At 31, Gabriel had it all: money, power, looks. As CEO of Wilson Corporation, his name carried weight. People either feared him, wanted to be him, or wanted something from him. But no one ever just loved him. That's what bothered him the most. He had been on 47 blind dates in the past 2 years. Each one ended the same way. The women came dressed up and excited. They flirted, laughed, praised him. But the moment he opened up about his condition, the moment he told them he couldn't have children, their smiles dropped, excuses followed, then silence. And they were gone. His grandmother, Mrs. Judy, didn't give up. She meant well, but her pressure only added to his pain. This morning, she had marched into his office with a loud sigh. "Gabriel, darling," she said, placing a list on his desk. "Your date. Be ready by 6 p.m. Wear something that makes you look less lonely." Gabriel had smiled politely, but inside something broke. "Grandma," he said gently, "what if none of these women actually want me?" She didn't reply. She just gave him that look. "That you better not say no again." Then she walked out. He waited until she was gone, then turned to his assistant, Mr. Grant. "Cancel tonight," Gabriel said, "and every other date she sets up." "Understood, sir." Mr. Grant paused. "What now?" Gabriel leaned back in his chair. He had made a decision, one he had been thinking about for weeks. "I'm done being Gabriel Wilson," he said. "From tomorrow on, the world will see me as a broke construction worker named Gabe." Mr. Grant's eyebrows lifted. "You're serious?" "I want to meet someone who sees me, not my bank account. Someone who'll stay when they know the truth, not run." That night, Gabriel took off his suit and put on a plain t-shirt and faded jeans. He stared at himself in the mirror. No bodyguards. Just a regular man. A man with hopes, fears, and a heart that had been bruised too many times. He whispered to his reflection, "Let's see who'll love me when I have nothing." And with that, Gabe, the ordinary guy, was born. Before he was Gabe, before the t-shirt and construction boots, Gabriel Wilson had been in love. At least, he thought he was. Her name was Sophie. She was kind, gentle, and seemed different from the others. They met at a charity event, and for once the conversation didn't revolve around money, power, or his title. He had just found out about his infertility back then. It hit him hard. He had dreams of having a big family, hearing little feet run through the halls of his mansion. But Sophie didn't run. She said it was okay. She told him, "We can adopt. What matters is that we build a family together." Gabriel had believed her. He had smiled for the first time in weeks after hearing those words. He thought, maybe, just maybe, she's the one. Then came that night. Gabriel was walking toward the lounge, about to surprise her with flowers after a long meeting, but just before he opened the door, he froze. Her voice was on the phone, floating through the slightly open window. "Of course I don't love him," she laughed. "Do you think I could actually love a man who can't give me a child?" Gabriel's stomach turned. "He's rich, okay? That's why I'm staying. If I play my cards right, I could be set for life." The flowers fell from his hands. She never even saw him walk away. That was 2 years ago. Gabriel never told her what he heard. He just disappeared from her life the next morning and never looked back. Since then, he had been alone. Not just physically, truly alone. He tried dating again. But each time the same thing happened. They saw the bank account, not the man. They asked about cars, vacations, and houses, but never about him. He started counting the blind dates like battle scars. 1, 5, 13, 27, 47. Each woman left the moment they learned the truth. That he couldn't father a child. So when his grandmother dropped the latest blind date into his lap that morning, he felt a strange mix of tiredness and dark humor. "If this keeps going, I might break a world record," he mumbled to himself. Most failed dates by a billionaire. How charming. He couldn't do it anymore. He looked at himself in the mirror. Expensive suit, shiny watch, perfect hair, all lies. He wanted something real. That's when the idea came. A wild, honest idea. What if I show up as nobody? No money, no fame, just a man looking for love. That evening, Gabriel stood outside his mansion. The air smelled like change. He had shaved down his neatly trimmed beard, let his hair fall messy, put on dusty work boots, and worn-out jeans. He grabbed a plain canvas jacket, the kind someone on minimum wage might wear. In the mirror by the front door, he hardly recognized himself. No one else would either. He smiled for the first time in a while. Let's see who can love Gabe, the man with nothing. He shut the door behind him. The diner was quiet. Just the soft hum of ceiling fans and the clinking of cutlery. A cozy, no-frills place tucked into a quiet corner of the city. It wasn't fancy, but it was honest. Just like Gabriel wanted this meeting to be. He sat at a small corner booth in his faded jeans and old jacket. His boots were still a little dusty from the construction site he had walked past earlier, for effect. He looked at the clock. 6:59 p.m. One more minute until blind date. This will be number 48. He let out a long breath. This is it. The last one. Then I give up for good. Excuse me. A gentle voice broke his thoughts. He looked up. There she was, Emily Williams. She was beautiful in a very simple way. She had warm eyes and a tired smile like someone who'd seen both light and darkness in life but chose to stay kind anyway. She wore a plain blue dress, no makeup, no fancy jewelry, just a simple bag and a notebook tucked under one arm. Are you Gabe? She asked, shyly. He nodded and stood. Yeah, that's me. They shook hands. Hers were a little rough, like someone used to doing things on her own. I'm Emily, she said, sliding into the seat across from him. The waiter came by. Gabriel ordered water. Emily got tea. Then came the awkward silence, like both of them were waiting for the other to say something. Real. Gabriel finally spoke. I should be honest up front, he said, leaning forward a little. I'm not rich. I don't have a car. I work construction, when I can get work. Emily listened, not reacting. I've tried to hustle here and there, but it all failed, he added. I've got debt, no savings, and I'm not good at cooking or laundry. I sleep on a couch. If any of that bothers you, we can end this now. Silence again. Gabriel studied her face, waiting for the usual discomfort, the fake smile, the quick excuse, but none came. Instead, Emily smiled softly, genuinely. I don't mind, she said. Gabriel blinked. You don't? No. She shook her head. Why would I? He tilted his head, confused. Most women, well, they usually leave after hearing less. Emily sipped her tea, then set it down. Let me tell you something, she began, her voice steady. I don't want a man who already has it all. I want to build something with someone, from the ground up. Gabriel stared at her, unsure if he was hearing her right. When I was younger, before my parents passed away, I grew up watching them fight over money, houses, and status, she continued. But love? Real love. That's built when things are hard. When you choose each other without the money, without the success. She looked up and met his eyes. I'm not looking for a ready-made life. I want to build a life, together. Gabriel couldn't believe what he was hearing. Was she for real? Part of him wanted to laugh. Part of him wanted to cry. Are you sure you're not just saying that? He asked gently, almost afraid to hope. Emily raised an eyebrow. Do I look like someone with time to pretend or joke about something like this? That made Gabriel smile, for the first time in years. It reached his eyes. They spent the next hour talking. Not about fancy things, just real things. Books, dreams, mistakes, favorite meals, childhood memories. No one brought up money, or careers, or children. Just people, just life. And by the time they left the diner, something had shifted. Gabriel Wilson, billionaire, broken-hearted and in hiding, felt something he hadn't felt in a long, long time. Hope. The street outside the diner was quiet, the sky dusky and soft. Gabriel and Emily walked slowly, hands in their pockets, still talking. But his mind was somewhere else. His steps grew slower. He kept looking over at her, wondering. Could she really be different? At last, under the glow of a flickering street lamp, he stopped. "Emily, there's one more thing I need to tell you." She looked up. "Okay." His chest rose and fell as he gathered the courage. No suit, no power, no protection here, just him. "I can't have children," he said quietly. "It's not something I chose. I found out not too long ago and I'm still getting used to it." He waited for the change in her face, the awkward shift, the hidden disappointment. But it didn't come. Instead, she took a breath, stepped closer and gently said, "That doesn't make you less of a man." Her words landed softly. No pity, no shame, just calm truth. "There are all kinds of ways to build a family," she added. "And love? That's not measured in biology. It's measured in presence, in showing up." Gabriel felt something tighten in his chest. For a second, he couldn't speak. So he did something crazy. Something no CEO, no man in his position should probably do on a sidewalk in work boots. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a tiny silver nut from a bolt, the closest thing he had to a ring, and knelt. "I know this is fast, too fast, and maybe this is stupid, but Emily, will you marry me?" The world stood still. A couple walked past. A car honked softly in the distance. Emily looked at him, the messy-haired, tired-eyed man on one knee, and smiled. "Okay." Gabriel blinked. "Wait, what?" "I said yes," she repeated. He stared at her, speechless. "We can figure out the rest later," she said. "But if this is real, then yes, let's do this." Gabriel laughed, the kind of laugh that starts in your stomach and shakes the sadness out of your bones. They hugged under the streetlight. And just like that, they were no longer alone. A few days later, they signed a simple marriage license at a quiet registry office. No flowers, no guests, just two people. And a promise. Gabriel took her to a small apartment tucked behind a bakery in a quiet neighborhood. "It's not much," he said, unlocking the door. "But it's mine." He didn't mention it was rented under a fake name, or that he owned dozens of buildings in the city. Emily stepped inside, looked around at the tiny space with its single couch, creaky windows, and a kitchen the size of a closet. "It's perfect," she said. She tried to cook, budget their groceries, and clean while working part-time. Life was hard. Rent was tight. Sometimes they skipped takeout just to save extra. But she didn't complain. Not once. Gabriel would lie awake some nights just staring at her, wondering how someone so strong could still be so soft. One afternoon, Emily stopped at a small corner shop to grab some bread and instant noodles. Just as she paid, she heard a sharp, familiar voice behind her. Well, well, if it isn't little Emily. She turned. Her stepsister Rachel stood there in a designer coat and high heels, holding a boutique coffee cup like it was a crown. "I heard you got married," Rachel said, eyes scanning her plain clothes. "No wonder you kept it a secret. Knowing you, I bet he's a nobody. Trash attracts trash after all." Emily clenched her jaw. "I married someone kind," she said. "Someone real." Rachel scoffed. "Oh, please, I bet he can't even afford a car. Pathetic. You could have done better, someone like my fiancé, Travis, who is a supervisor at Wilson Corporation. But you always had bad taste." Gabriel walked up quietly from behind, holding a bag of oranges. He heard it all, but said nothing. Emily turned to him, took the bag, and held his hand. "You know what, Rachel? I'm happy. Truly. You can have your fancy coffees and cold-hearted relationship. I'll take love over labels any day." Rachel rolled her eyes and walked away, flipping her hair dramatically. Gabriel watched her disappear, then looked at Emily. "You didn't have to defend me," he said softly. "Yes, I did," Emily replied, "because you're worth defending." And in that moment, something shifted. Gabriel didn't just admire her, he was falling for her. He stared at the empty space where Rachel had stood, her insults still echoing faintly in the air. Not because she called him poor. Not because she looked down on his clothes or his quiet life. But because she had spoken to Emily like that, like she was less, like she didn't matter. And that was unforgivable. Emily didn't notice the fire quietly rising in Gabriel's chest. She smiled gently as they walked home, holding the bread in one hand and his hand in the other. She was strong, stronger than she knew, but Gabriel also knew that strength came at a cost. That night, while Emily cooked a simple soup and hummed an old tune from her childhood, Gabriel sent a message to Mr. Grant. Get her a job, somewhere solid, somewhere ours. Understood, sir. Shall I use the Blake Corp subsidiary? Yes, Rivertech. Make it look like a normal hiring. Keep my name out of it. And the position? Let her talent choose it. Gabriel smiled to himself as he watched Emily stir the pot. Let them see what she can really do. A week later, Emily got a call she didn't expect. Hello, this is Rivertech HR. We came across your resume and portfolio and would love to have you come in for an interview. Emily blinked in surprise. You found me? She had applied months ago. No response. Now suddenly, this? I'm not really sure how. Your portfolio stood out, the woman on the phone said kindly. You have potential. Emily whispered, Thank you. Then turned to Gabriel that evening with tears in her eyes. I got a job, Gabe. A real one. They called me. Gabriel hugged her tightly, hiding his quiet smile on her shoulder. I knew they'd see how amazing you are. Rivertech's design department was busy, fast-paced, and filled with big egos. But Emily didn't flinch. She worked hard, stayed late, helped others. Within a month, her ideas were showing up on internal campaigns. Clients asked for her by name. People noticed, including Rachel. Rachel had taken a break from work after her latest cosmetic vacation, but her fiancé, Travis, was still deeply rooted in Rivertech, promoted to manager through backdoor deals Rachel had brokered using fake references and charm. Travis was clever, ambitious, and spineless. Rachel visited one day to drop off lunch and was halfway through gossiping when she spotted a familiar face across the office. That better not be my sister, she hissed. Travis looked up. Who? Emily. Here? Working here? She marched over, lips curled. Well, well. Playing career girl now? Did Gabe finally start washing cars to pay rent? Emily stood tall. I got hired fair and square. By mistake, Rachel sneered. And don't worry, that mistake's about to be corrected. She turned back to Travis with a sharp grin. Do it. I don't care how. Get her out of here. Travis scratched the back of his neck. Rach, that might be... You want me to keep quiet about how you really got here? Then you'll do what I say. The next week, strange things started happening. Emily's emails disappeared. Her files were mysteriously altered. Then came the worst. A fake presentation filled with copied designs got submitted under her name. Emily Williams, the HR head called sternly. You've been accused of fraud and plagiarism. Emily gasped. What? No, I didn't. This isn't mine. Her protests fell on deaf ears. Travis stood at the side of the room, arms folded, watching the scene quietly, until a message pinged on his phone. She's watching. Keep going. His fingers twitched. Gabriel sat across town in a boardroom at Wilson Corp when his phone buzzed with a notification from his monitor alert system. The name Emily Williams. Fraud had triggered it. He stood up instantly. Meeting's over. Sir, the Japan deal. I said it's over, he said, walking out of the boardroom, hoping to get home quickly. Emily came home tired again that night, her shoulders sagging beneath her thrift store coat, her shoes soaked from unexpected rain. Gabriel met her at the door with a towel and a smile. Rough day? He asked gently. She nodded. Like every day lately. He helped her out of her wet shoes, handed her warm socks and said, Sit, I'll make tea. Despite the chaos at work, she still smiled at him. She never treated him like a burden, never looked down at the apartment, never called him less. Instead, she asked how his day was at the site. She cooked what little they had. She saved bus fare just so he could rest his legs. And little by little, Gabriel Wilson, man of walls, power, and wealth, started falling deeper. Not for her looks, not for her past, but for the way she made him feel like enough. One morning, Emily came home from a shift holding a glittery envelope. It's Rachel's wedding invitation, she said, eyes unsure. She insists I come. Gabriel raised a brow. You want to? Emily hesitated. No, but I feel like I have to. She's family. He gently squeezed her hand. Then we'll go. Together. She shook her head. No, Rachel said. Only I'm invited. Staff entrance. His jaw tightened. He knew Rachel was up to no good, but he didn't argue. Not yet. Cloudview Banquet Hall sparkled with gold chandeliers and imported roses. Guests in designer dresses mingled and laughed, champagne in hand. Emily, wearing her plainest black dress and carrying a tray, quietly moved through the crowd. "Emily," a guest said loudly, "you work here?" Rachel approached with Travis at her side, smug in a pearl-covered gown. "Didn't expect you to actually show," Rachel sneered. "Well, at least you're useful. Couldn't afford a gift, so you're serving the wine instead." Travis smirked. "Figures. She married a nobody." "You know," Rachel said louder, drawing attention, "my husband's a manager at Blake Corp. We have 3 bathrooms and heated floors. Meanwhile, you married a man who probably still counts coins at the grocery store." Laughter rippled. Emily tried to keep her hands steady as she poured. Then one guest, already tipsy, handed her a full glass. "Come on, little waitress," he slurred. "Have a drink. You're celebrating, right?" Emily shook her head. "I'm working, just trying to help out at my sister's wedding." "Just one drink won't kill you," Rachel said sweetly, "for old time's sake. Or are you too good for us now, Miss Married a Loser?" The glass was pushed into her hand. Cameras flashed. Guests jeered. Emily, flushed and humiliated, stood frozen. Across the room, someone moved through the crowd. Quiet, unassuming. Until he spoke. "That's enough." Heads turned. There, in a dark suit tailored to perfection, stood Gabriel Wilson, hair slicked back, posture straight, eyes cold. Emily's jaw dropped. "Gabe," she whispered. He walked forward and gently took the wineglass from her hand. "You humiliate my wife in front of strangers and call it a celebration?" Rachel rolled her eyes. "Who invited the janitor?" "You're calling me poor?" Gabriel asked calmly. Travis laughed. "Please, you think wearing a suit makes you rich? Save your fake big man act. You're nothing." Gabriel turned to the stunned crowd. "I am Gabriel Wilson, CEO of Wilson Corporation." A long, dead silence filled the room. Laughter broke it from Rachel. "Oh, please," she scoffed. "What kind of billionaire marries a thrift queen and lives in a shoebox apartment?" Emily, stunned, touched his arm. "Gabe, there's no need to pretend just to protect me. It's not worth it." He looked at her, his gaze warm and soft. "I'm not pretending." The ballroom was frozen. The man everyone thought was a poor laborer had just claimed to be Gabriel Wilson, CEO of Wilson Corporation. At first, no one moved. Then Mr. Thompson, the regional manager of Wilson's East Division, pushed through the crowd with his phone in hand. "It's true," he said breathlessly. "His photo's in our internal portal. Verified. Face ID match. He's the boss." Gasps erupted, chairs scraped, wine glasses rattled, and Rachel's face went pale. That's not possible," she stammered. He lives in a dump. He wears sneakers." Gabriel ignored her. He turned toward Travis. "You got promoted through fake credentials and backdoor deals, didn't you?" Travis blinked, sweat beading on his forehead. Who told you that?" Gabriel raised an eyebrow. "I own the company, Travis." He waved toward the entrance and 2 suited security officers stepped inside. "Travis Reed, you're fired for breach of ethics, fraudulent promotion, and harassment. Effective immediately." "You can't do this!" Rachel shrieked. "You're just angry because I embarrassed your little wife." Gabriel turned to her, eyes cold as ice. "Rachel Williams, you've used your position to abuse staff, forge HR files, and threaten employees. From this moment forward, you're banned from every Wilson Corporation branch worldwide. Step foot inside one again, and we'll press charges." Rachel's jaw trembled. "You're lying, you don't mean it." Gabriel didn't flinch. Security moved toward them. Travis cursed under his breath. Rachel tried to pull away. "I'm her sister! You can't do this to me!" she screamed. Gabriel's voice dropped low. "You stopped being her sister the day you tried to destroy her." Emily stood in the corner, frozen. Everything around her spun like a broken carousel. The lights, the gasps, the pointing fingers. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Gabriel. Her Gabriel. The quiet man with the warm hands and tired boots. The one who made her tea, who held her when she cried, who knelt with a bolt for a ring. And he was the CEO all along. Her heart pounded, not with excitement, with something else. "Why?" she whispered. He turned to her, his eyes soft now. "Emily, why didn't you tell me?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Did you not trust me?" "I trust you," he said gently. "I really do, more than I've trusted anyone in a long time. But I didn't want you to fall in love with the title. I wanted you to see me, just me." "I did," she said, stepping back. "I saw you, and I loved you. But you didn't see me. You didn't trust me with the truth." Gabriel reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "And now you want me to smile because you're a CEO?" He opened his mouth, but no words came. "You didn't lie to protect me," she said quietly. "You lied because you were afraid." Then she turned and walked out through the crowd. Gabriel stood alone as the doors swung shut behind her. The ballroom buzzed with whispers, but in his chest, all he heard was silence. Later that night, after everything was over, the rain tapped softly against the windows of the Wilson estate. Gabriel sat slouched on a velvet couch in his grandmother's sunroom, looking nothing like the powerful CEO he had revealed himself to be only hours ago. His tie was loose, his jacket forgotten on the floor. His eyes were lost somewhere far away. Grandma Judy sipped her tea, her wise eyes fixed on her grandson. "She left," Gabriel whispered. "She walked away." Judy nodded slowly. "She was hurt. Rightly so." He looked up, guilt darkening his features. "I was trying to protect her." "Protect her?" she repeated. "By lying to her? By hiding who you really were?" She leaned forward. "Gabriel, love isn't built on pretending. It's built on truth, even when it's scary." He looked down. "I didn't want her to love the CEO. I wanted her to love me. And she did," Judy said gently. "But when the truth came out, you made her question everything." Silence fell. Then Judy added, "Don't let a good woman slip away, Gabriel. Not because of your pride, and not because of fear." Gabriel's heart clenched. He nodded once, quietly, but with resolve. Meanwhile, Emily sat alone in their small apartment, her bag still half packed, her phone silent. She hugged her knees to her chest and stared out the window, rain smearing the glass. She didn't miss the CEO. She didn't miss luxury. She missed him. The man who used to burn rice and laugh at the smoke alarm. Who left love notes in pencil. Who kissed her forehead when he thought she was asleep. "Why didn't he just tell me?" she whispered to the dark. Her fingers touched her lower belly without realizing. Something was off. Her period was late. Her chest had felt tender, her body strange. "No, that can't be," she said softly. But the thought wouldn't leave. Gabriel rushed to her side the moment she texted him. "I think I might be pregnant." He met her at the clinic, breathless. "Emily," he said, pulling her into a gentle hug. "I'm sorry. I should have told you everything from the start. I didn't want to lose you. But I lost you anyway." She looked up at him, still unsure. "Let's take things slowly, one step at a time. You saw my text, right? I don't know if it's even real. I just missed my period. Let's find out," he said, holding her hand tightly. "Whatever happens, I'm here. I won't lie to you again, ever." The test came first, then the blood work, then the ultrasound. The doctor came in, smiling. "Congratulations," she said. "You're pregnant, 6 weeks along." Emily gasped. Gabriel blinked. "That's impossible," he said. I'm infertile." The doctor tilted her head with a kind smile. "We've seen it before. Sometimes the body finds a way, when the heart is right. Stress, emotions, even hope can change things. Call it a miracle." Gabriel sat back in the chair, stunned, silent. Then he began to laugh, a deep, trembling laugh filled with disbelief and joy. He dropped to his knees beside Emily and held her gently. "A baby," he whispered. "We're going to have a baby." Tears filled her eyes. "We are." Gabriel kept his promise. No more hiding, no more fake names, no more pretending. He cooked, burnt the rice, but tried again. He drove Emily to appointments, bought her 1,000 pillows, watched her sleep just to be sure she was okay. Then one evening, he took her hand and said softly, "Come home." He drove her back to the mansion, his real home. But this time, he didn't open the door for her as a guest. He opened it for his wife. The Wilson mansion had never felt more alive. Sunlight poured through grand windows, laughter echoed in marble halls, and the staff, once cold and silent, now smiled as they passed. Gabriel opened the door slowly. "Grandma, there's someone I want you to meet." Judy Wilson turned from the window, her cane resting beside her chair. Her sharp eyes softened the moment they landed on the gentle woman beside her grandson. "Is this—" Emily stepped forward nervously. "Hello, ma'am. I'm—" "My granddaughter," Judy interrupted, already wiping at her eyes. Tears spilled as she held her hands over her mouth. Gabriel stepped beside Emily, his hand at the small of her back. "She's pregnant, Grandma. We just found out." Judy gasped, letting out a half laugh, half sob. "I never thought I'd see the day," she whispered. "Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd hold a grandchild." She shuffled over and took Emily's hands in her own trembling ones. "You are a blessing," Judy said, her voice cracking. "To him, to me, to this whole family. You brought life where we had only silence." She kissed Emily's hands, then waved to the maid behind her. "Bring the red boxes, all of them." Within minutes, trays of jewelry, silk shawls, and heirloom treasures were being laid out. Emily stood frozen. "This is too much," she started. "Nonsense," Judy interrupted again. "It's not even enough." Gabriel smiled quietly as Emily blinked away grateful tears. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. "Not ever again." In the days that followed, Emily settled into the mansion's peaceful rhythm. Fresh flowers in every room, her favorite dishes at dinner, Gabriel reading baby books beside her in bed. He'd sneak into the kitchen to cook breakfast himself, proudly burning toast with the dedication of a man building a castle from scratch. She laughed more than she had in years. She slept without fear. She felt full. But across the city, Rachel Williams nearly dropped her phone. "She's what?" Her friend on the line hesitated. "She's pregnant. Word's going around Wilson Corp. They say it's a miracle." Rachel's lips curled into a sneer. "Miracle? Please." She paced house like a caged animal. "That little thief. She stole my place. And now she's having his child? His heir?" Her nails dug into her palms. "This isn't over," she hissed. "I will take back what's mine." She picked up her phone and dialed. "Travis, we're not done." That night, in a shady hotel room, Rachel laid out the plan. Travis, sitting beside her, frowned. "You want to drug Gabriel? Are you insane?" "Not drug him," Rachel snapped. "Just enough to make him sleep. Then we stage the rest. Photos, fake whispers, make it look like Emily cheated on him. And then? Then she's out, and I swoop in. Comfort him, remind him of what he could have." Travis shook his head. "This could get us both arrested." Rachel leaned close, her voice icy. "Then maybe you should have thought of that before helping frame her at River Tech." He stiffened. She smirked. "You helped destroy her career once. Now we do it again, only bigger." Across the city, Emily sat curled in a silk blanket, sipping warm tea as Gabriel gently rubbed her feet. She smiled, the baby book resting on her belly. "Life feels perfect," she whispered. Gabriel kissed her forehead. "It's only the beginning." But in the dark, jealousy never sleeps. The next day started like any other. Gabriel kissed Emily on the forehead before leaving for a short business dinner. She smiled, wrapped in a soft robe, flipping through nursery color palettes. He promised he'd be back in 2 hours, 3 at most. But as the clock ticked past midnight, she knew something was wrong. Gabriel stirred groggily on a velvet sofa in an unfamiliar room. His head ached, his vision blurred. Where am I? Across the room, Rachel appeared in a silk robe holding 2 glasses of wine. Finally awake, she purred. I thought you'd sleep forever. Gabriel rubbed his eyes.
Rachel, what are you? Relax, she said, walking closer. It's just us now, like it always should have been. He stood abruptly, knocking over the glass. What did you do to me? Rachel's smile faded. Just something mild. You'll feel better in an hour, but not before the camera sees you shirtless, with me beside you. You're insane. No, she said coldly. I'm taking back what should have been mine. Meanwhile, Emily, uneasy and barefoot, moved through the mansion. Gabriel's phone was off. Mr. Grant hadn't heard from him. Then suddenly, a scream echoed through the hall.
Emily's. Travis had snuck in through a side entrance, waiting, watching, and now, grabbing. Let go of me, she cried, struggling against him. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Travis sneered. You want to protect your husband? Play along. A few photos, some fake cries, and boom, Gabriel doubts everything. He leaves you. Rachel steps in. You're disgusting, Emily spat. I know Rachel set you up to this. You're both disgusting. Just as Travis shoved her toward the couch crash, the door slammed open. Get away from her. Gabriel stood in the doorway, his face thunderous, his fists clenched. Travis froze. You were drugged? Yes, but I'm wide awake now. He lunged. Travis barely dodged before Gabriel slammed him against the wall. Emily screamed. Security came running. Call the police, Gabriel barked. They broke into my home. Assault, attempted coercion. I want them charged for everything. Rachel, dragged from the room next door, still in her robe, screeched, You have no proof! You can't! Oh, I have plenty, Gabriel growled, tossing a hidden camera from the corner onto the table. Smile for the security footage. Travis, now in handcuffs, shouted, You'll regret this, Wilson. You don't know who we... You're done, Gabriel said coldly. Both of you. You're going to jail. As the officers led them out, Rachel twisted her head back, eyes wild. This isn't over, Emily. You stole my life. You think this baby will save you? You'll lose everything. Emily clutched her belly, trembling. Gabriel pulled her close. No, he said, voice firm. She already lost. And you will never be touched again. Later that night, Emily sat on their bed wrapped in a blanket, silent. Gabriel knelt beside her. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should have known they'd try something. I should have protected you sooner. She looked at him, eyes watery. You came. That's all that matters. He rested his forehead against hers. They won't hurt you again, I promise. Not ever. Outside, the sirens faded, but inside, their love held strong. The next morning, the Wilson mansion was unusually quiet. Emily woke to soft sunlight, and Gabriel gently brushing her hair behind her ear. His eyes were tired, but his smile was warm. How do you feel? He whispered. Safe, she answered, holding his hand. Downstairs, Grandma Judy waited, her cane clicking gently on the marble floor as she paced, worried and impatient. When they finally came down, hand in hand, she turned with a tight expression and then opened her arms. Emily expected questions, worry. But instead, Judy pulled her into a hug and whispered, I know everything, and I'm so proud of you. Tears sprang to Emily's eyes. You've protected this family, Judy said, resting a hand gently over Emily's stomach, and brought it new life. You're more than a daughter-in-law. You're a blessing. That evening, as the family gathered in the parlor, Grandma Judy made a formal announcement. There will be no more waiting, no more hiding. This family has suffered enough. The world deserves to see the love between Gabriel and Emily and the child they're about to bring into it. So, she said, beaming, we're having a wedding, a real one, grand and golden, and right after, a baby celebration. Gabriel blinked. Grandma, no arguing. she said, silencing him with a wink. I've already called the planners. Emily turned to him, laughing for the first time in what felt like days. She's serious, isn't she? Oh, she's very serious, Gabriel said, squeezing her hand. Preparations begin. Within days, the mansion was alive with motion. Florists, dressmakers, chefs, musicians. Baby boutiques sent baskets by the dozen. Gabriel and Emily sat under the gazebo one evening watching the sunset. Do you remember, she asked, the first time we ate together? Yeah, he chuckled. I told you I worked construction and couldn't cook. You said, I don't mind. I still don't, she said, resting her head on his shoulder. As long as you never lie to me again. He kissed the top of her head. Never again. They fell into a comfortable silence, one they hadn't felt in a long time. They had fought, lost, healed, and now they were here. Together. But not for long. Far across town, in a dim cell, Rachel sat quietly, her fingers drumming against the metal table. A visitor walked in, a lawyer, a very expensive one. You'll be out soon, he said. The charges may not stick if we play this right. Rachel's eyes lit up. Then it's not over, she whispered. No, he said slowly. Not yet. She leaned back with a smile. Then let the games begin. The mansion glowed with lights. Guests filled the garden. Strings of soft music floated on the breeze. Roses lined the aisle, and a shimmering gold arch framed the altar where Gabriel and Emily were to be wed again, but this time for the world to see. Emily, dressed in a flowing satin gown, held her belly gently as she looked into the mirror. I never thought I'd have this, she whispered. A real wedding, a real family. Gabriel, just down the hall, adjusted his cufflinks, heart pounding. He wasn't nervous, not about her. He just couldn't believe she had stayed. After everything. Today, he whispered to himself, she becomes my wife in every way. And for once, everything felt perfect. Elsewhere, beneath the surface, in a back alley of the city, a black SUV idled outside a silent warehouse. The door creaked open, and out stepped Rachel, no longer the polished woman, now in black jeans, a leather jacket, and rage in her eyes. She was free, though through shady means, and she was furious. Emily, she muttered, scrolling through stolen wedding photos on a burner phone. Still pregnant, still smiling, still happy. Her hands trembled as she zoomed in on a photo of Gabriel holding Emily close, forehead against hers. She stole my life. A man stepped from the shadows, thick accent, cold eyes. You have plan? He asked. Rachel's smile was thin, twisted. Yes, and it ends where it should have started, at Canal Street. Canal Street, once the site of a massive construction accident, now closed off but still visited by Gabriel's outreach teams doing safety assessments. Rachel knew his schedule, she knew his routes. He'll be there Tuesday, she told her contact. Alone, always goes without a guard. The man nodded. What do you want done? An accident, like before, but this time, it finishes the job. And the wife? Rachel's lips curled. Let her suffer. Let her carry his child into a world where he no longer exists. Let her break. Meanwhile, at the mansion, the wedding went off without a hitch. Emily walked down the aisle to gentle violin music. Gabriel stared, stunned all over again. You look like forever, he whispered when she reached him. They exchanged vows. Laughed, cried, kissed under the arch while the crowd cheered and flower petals rained. They were home, at last. But beneath the joy, danger crept like smoke beneath a door. 5 days later, Gabriel kissed Emily goodbye before heading out. It's just a short sight check, he said. An old project from before we met. Emily frowned slightly. Can't you send someone else? It'll only take an hour, he smiled, brushing her cheek. You rest. I'll be back before lunch. She watched him leave, a strange twist in her gut. She didn't know why. She just felt cold. The moment Gabriel's car disappeared around the curve, Emily's chest tightened. She stood frozen at the mansion gates, one hand resting on her belly, the other clutched tightly at her heart. Something felt wrong, terribly, deeply wrong. Then it hit her. The dream, she whispered. The night before, she had woken in a cold sweat, gasping Gabriel's name. In the dream, there was smoke, fire, crumbling steel, a familiar voice calling her name, and then silence. She had seen his wedding ring lying in the rubble. It was just a dream, she had told herself. But now, no, it was a warning. Emily turned without thinking, ran. She grabbed the keys to the black sedan parked outside and sped toward Canal Street, one of the oldest, least stable zones in the city. Please, let me be wrong, she prayed. Please let me find him in one piece. At Canal Street, Gabriel stood in the center of the fenced-off zone, clipboard in hand, reviewing crumbled columns and exposed wiring. Zone 4's gas line is still unstable, he muttered to himself. Should have been reinforced months ago. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text. You should have left her when you had the chance. Gabriel frowned. Just as the wind shifted, and the smell of gas filled the air. Boom. Not the full explosion, not yet. But a small burst enough to knock a loose pipe. Sparks flickered. He turned, eyes widening. No, not now. Emily slammed on the brakes outside the fence. She didn't think. She didn't hesitate. She ran, screaming, Gabriel! He saw her, just as another burst of fire cracked through the air. Emily, get back! No, she yelled. Come here, now! He dropped the clipboard and ran toward her. A final pipe burst behind him, flames licking at his coat as Emily reached him, pulling him through the broken gate just as a full wall behind them collapsed. Debris filled the air, dust, shouts, cracking concrete. But they were safe. Together. The site was shut down immediately. Sirens wailed, barriers went up, emergency lights turned the sky red. One investigator said quietly, "This place was set to blow. Somebody rigged it." Emily clutched Gabriel's arm tightly. "I told you something was wrong." Gabriel stared at the wreckage, breathing hard. "You saved my life." She shook her head, tears falling. "You're my life." That evening, back at the mansion, Gabriel sat silently beside Emily as she rested her head on his shoulder. "We need to find out who did this," he whispered, "and end it. For good." Emily nodded. "Start by looking into the prison logs. She's not gone. I can feel her." Gabriel looked down at her, then at her stomach. "You saved both of us today. I'll spend the rest of my life protecting you." 3 days later, sunlight warmed the Wilson estate as guests arrived in pastel colors, arms full of gifts and smiles. Laughter danced across the rose garden, where golden ribbons swayed between silk canopies and a delicate "Welcome Baby Wilson" banner hung over the main arch. Emily stood in a pale pink gown, cheeks glowing, one hand over her baby bump, the other clutching Gabriel's. "This doesn't feel real," she whispered. "This much joy. All at once." Gabriel kissed her forehead. "You earned it." The entire event had been planned by one proud woman, Grandma Judy. She supervised every detail with her cane tapping and her sharp eye flashing. "No stress for the mama," she ordered. "No chaos, just celebration." And for the first time in a long time, Emily relaxed. The trauma, the danger, the betrayal, all felt distant beneath the gentle music and joyful crowd. Even Rachel, for once, was not present. Or so they thought. Just as the cake was being wheeled in, 3 tiers of buttercream and baby booties, a shriek rang out from the estate gates. Rachel, disheveled, furious, and clearly out of her mind, stormed past 2 stunned waiters and tried to break through the velvet rope lining the entrance. "This is supposed to be my life!" she screamed. "She stole everything from me!" Before she got past the rose hedge, 2 figures stepped forward. Private Investigator James and a quiet, suited officer. "Rachel Williams," James said, voice calm but sharp. "You're under arrest." "For what?" she shrieked. "For wanting my life back?" "New evidence," he said. "Voice recordings, transaction logs, surveillance, all linking you to the attempted murder of Mr. Gabriel Wilson." The crowd gasped. Emily froze. "And falsified reports to enable you to escape from prison," he continued. Show you paid your way out and hired known criminals to rig Canal Street. Rachel turned pale. Her hands shook. But this time, no one stepped in to save her. She was handcuffed. "Get your hands off me!" she screamed as she was dragged away. "No," Gabriel said from the edge of the path, holding Emily's hand. "You're nothing but a cautionary tale now." As the chaos faded and the music gently resumed, Emily sat beside Gabriel, the wind playing with her hair. Grandma Judy joined them and took Emily's hands. "She's gone now," she said softly. "And she'll never hurt you again." Emily leaned into Gabriel's chest. "It's over." Gabriel nodded, then looked down at her stomach. "And everything we've gone through, it brought us here, to this." They stood and raised a glass as the sun dipped low. "To our family," Gabriel said. "To a future filled with truth, not lies, joy, not jealousy, and love that never hides." The guests cheered. The garden glowed. And as the stars emerged, so did something new. Peace. Real, beautiful, earned peace. The air inside the prison cell was heavy, sterile, still. Emily sat across from Rachel, a glass divider between them, a phone pressed to each ear. Rachel's eyes were hollow. Her hair was pulled back without its usual perfection. Her smile, crooked and bitter. "So," Rachel murmured. "You came." Emily nodded once, calm, clear-eyed, unshaken. "I needed to say goodbye for good." Rachel chuckled. It was dry, sharp. "You know I always hated you, right?" Emily said nothing. "In school, everyone said you were the sweet one, the smart one. You got better grades, people liked you, you didn't even try." Emily spoke softly. "You still got the better job after graduation, the luxury apartment, the first promotion. I never envied you." Rachel leaned closer to the glass, her eyes wild. "But you still won. You married him," she spat. "The billionaire, the fairy tale, and I—" She laughed, but it was hollow. "I'm here, rotting, again." Emily's gaze didn't waver. "Because you chose hate over healing. I didn't steal your life, Rachel. You threw yours away trying to destroy mine." Rachel's fingers trembled. "I had everything, and you still ended up with more." Emily stood. "I'm not here to beg or fight. I'm here to close the door." Rachel banged her fist on the glass. "You always win." Emily paused. "No, Rachel, I just didn't stop loving." She turned and walked away, her steps firm, her back straight. And Rachel cursed through tears, her voice echoing uselessly behind the cold glass. Months later. The air in the hospital room was quiet, but this time in the way only miracles can silence a room. Emily lay on the bed, flushed and radiant, cradling a bundle wrapped in a pale pink blanket. "She's beautiful," Gabriel whispered, brushing back Emily's hair, his eyes wet with awe. The baby stirred gently in Emily's arms, a soft yawn, a tiny stretch, her fist curling against her cheek. "You did it," Gabriel murmured. Emily smiled, exhausted, overwhelmed, whole. "We did." Grandma Judy stood quietly near the window, hand over her heart, whispering a prayer of thanks. Later that night, as the stars peeked through the nursery curtains, Emily sat in a rocking chair, holding her daughter close. Gabriel stood nearby, watching them, his heart too full for words. Emily looked up at him, her voice a whisper. "We'll call her Hope." He nodded, emotion choking his throat. She looked down at their daughter, their beginning, their miracle, their redemption. Our story had storms, but this is our forever. And as little Hope slept peacefully in her arms, the story ended where all love stories should, in light, not shadow.